welcome again to another episode of Quarters of Football. So we're your hosts, Philip and Danny. So I hope you guys haven't missed us that much. So we got another special guest for us, Mr. World Football himself, Tony Simmons. I can just kind of go back in the history where we met in 2012. My first time out of the country. I get to meet and play also with an ex-NFL player that has been, all over the world. I can't even count how many cities or places you have been probably in your life, but it's been a while. I've been a lot, I'm sure. So, Tony, just from the get-go, just can you tell us something about yourself and where you're from, your childhood, and things like that? How do you get into football, basically?
It started back in the day. I'm from Chicago, born and raised on the south side of Chicago. Been playing football since I was like 7 years old, been running track since I was 6. So basically that's how it all started. My family is basically a track family. We're a track family. My brother played baseball, but everybody else we ran track and all this stuff. Everybody in my family, fortunately, were state champions. So at some point they were a city champion or a state champion. So I think I'm the only state champion, but everybody else was city champions. Things back in the day, things got bigger. But that led me to go from the high school that I went to, which I played football at, and ran track and played basketball as well. And then going forward into college and fortunately making the pros.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're a translation.
No, I'm just, like I said, I'll bring keeping this small pieces for you.
Totally cool, everything's good. Toni hat uns gerade erzählt, erst nochmal einmal auf Deutsch. Hallo Toni, Dankeschön, dass du heute der nächste Interviewpartner von 4 Quarter Stories of Football sein kannst. Toni hat wie jeder andere auch erstmal so ein bisschen dargestellt, wo er geboren wurde und was so seine ersten Schritte im American Football waren. Toni ist in Chicago geboren und ist auch dort zur Highschool gegangen und eigentlich ist seine Familie eine komplette Leiterfamilie. Also jeder war mal so City Champion und er war der Einzige, der State Champion war. Mit 6 hat er angefangen mit Leichtathletik und letztendlich mit 7 Jahren angefangen mit Football. That leads me to my first question or the next question in this interview. So how was your high school experience with American football?
My high school experience was unique because I went from, I don't know if this has ever been done in Germany or anything like that, but in Chicago, my school was a big school. I went to a huge school, and our school literally, when they say moved, we moved an entire school body to another school. So I was at my high school, it was on 63rd and Claremont, which was where St. Rita High School was. That's what we were known for because of our facilities. And we moved from one facility to another facility, which was even bigger. Now everything is on campus. Before we had to go to, we had our football, but if you had to do track, you had to go to some park. And then we had to do basketball inside, but, we were always traveling because we couldn't have a lot of people in our gym and stuff. Now we are capable of holding everything in one spot: baseball, soccer, baseball, football, track, swimming. We have everything now versus we didn't have all that in the old school. So we actually moved from one school to another, which was actually awesome, but it sucked because we went to a school where all the traditions and, all the livelihood, the accolades, everything was at that school. And then to tell some freshmen now our sophomore year, we have to rebuild school spirit in our new school. And it was like, really, this sucks. You know what I mean? Like, it was easier to recruit then, but now it's a little bit harder. But by the end of it, being in football in every sport, and we were helping build up sports, we actually made our school even bigger. I was part of the student council as a sophomore, and I grew that way all the way up to senior year. But we end up having, by the end of my senior year, we had 1,000 freshmen walking the halls. So we rebuilt our entire school from a different place. And we only had our student body at the time. When I first went to St. Rita, you would talk about 600 people total school. Now we're talking 1,000 freshmen, and that's it, plus the student body. So it was freaking cool. It was cool. You think about it now, and now that I am part of the Hall of Fame of St. Rita, that I finally made the Hall of Fame, it's kind of cool when I go back and walk because people see me now and they like, oh, that's that guy that's on the wall. I'm like, yeah, that's me on the wall right there. That's me. So it's cool.
Okay, ja, thank you very much. Ja, so die Highschool-Erfahrung von Toni war tatsächlich sehr einzigartig. Das komplette Footballprogramm, nicht nur das Footballprogramm, sondern die komplette Schule ist umgezogen in einen anderen Distrikt und wurde zu einer wesentlich größeren Schule. Also sie hatten schon sehr, sehr viel in ihrer Highschool um sich herum, mussten aber bei vielen Dingen immer noch ausweichen. So für Track and Field mussten sie zum Beispiel Leichtathletik, mussten sie zum Beispiel in den Park gehen oder manche Sportarten auch woanders ausführen. Das war in der neuen Schule anders. Die neue Schule hatte tatsächlich alles. Sie war größer, sie hatte alles so herum, die Facility an sich hat alles abgedeckt, was man als Schüler so braucht. Das ist natürlich, wenn man sich gerade an eine Highschool gewöhnt hat, unglaublich schwierig, an eine noch größere Highschool zu gehen, als komplette Schule, die komplette Schule neu aufzubauen, mit jedem Programm aufzubauen. Was aber natürlich sehr positiv war, dass letztendlich in diesem Bereich, in dieser Facility dieser neuen Highschool alles umgesetzt werden konnte. Über Football, Baseball, Leichtathletik, Schwimmen, es konnte wirklich tatsächlich alles an dieser Schule gemacht werden. Und in seinem Senior Year war es letztendlich so, dass die Schule so groß geworden ist, dass 1000 Freshmen, also 1000 neue Schüler da waren, in einer Schule, die vorher gerade mal 600 Schüler gefasst hat, insgesamt. Das ist ein unglaublicher Vergleich. Toni hat auch erzählt, dass er mittlerweile Hall of Famer an seiner Highschool ist und es natürlich ziemlich cool ist, wenn er jetzt mal zurückkommt und an seine Highschool zurückkommt und die Kids dort heutzutage sagen, hey, das ist der Typ, der da vorne an der Wand hängt, der hat ja auch gespielt. Das ist schon ziemlich cool. Yeah, so thank you very much. My next question, how did you make the decision to attend Wisconsin University?
That was, it was a hard decision because once I found out what my ranking was in high school, back then it was a different ranking, like we have Power 5 and all this stuff now. Mm-hmm. But you found out in the newspaper. People actually used newspaper back then. So one day I opened up the newspaper and it gave all the rankings of all the receivers. So they break it down. Quarterbacks throughout the nation, quarterbacks, DBs, everybody was positioned out. And it put me as the third best receiver out, you know what I mean? So I was like, yeah, I get to go to college, you know what I mean? Versus because I knew I couldn't pay for college. So I actually acquired myself to try. I took all the tests to go into Air Force Academy. And those were opportunities that I had because I couldn't pay for college. So, but I was given that opportunity to be in the third best. And then I saw all the opportunities in the world come at me. Every Big Ten school, SEC school, back then Pac-10, you know, all the schools. I could have went to any school I wanted, and I chose Wisconsin. One of the biggest reasons were they were in the top 5 engineering programs because I wanted to be an engineer. But they were in the top 5 of that. Plus, they also allowed me to run track as well. So I got the opportunity to play football and run track. I was one of the few, and there are not a lot of college athletes that do it, but a lot of dual school athletes. There's not a lot of us that do it, but we do it and still pull off the grades we need. So that was one of the big reasons right there. Plus, at the time, Wisconsin was knocking on the door of becoming a better team. Our coach, Barry Alvarez, he gave us a lot of hope and faith, and, you know, he made sure he was going to take care of us and, you know, make sure that we were the class that would bring it over, and we did. My freshman year, we went to the Rose Bowl and won it. So, and we haven't been to the Rose Bowl in 21 years, and that was the first time we won it. So that's big. That was a big one. So, and that was kind of the turnover for everyone going there. So choosing Wisconsin was one of the greatest situations. And I graduated as a construction engineer. So It all worked.
Really cool. Ja, die Frage zielt darauf ab, warum sich Tony letztendlich für die University von Wisconsin entschieden hat. Heutzutage kennt jeder eigentlich schon im vorletzten Jahr der Highschool die ganzen Stats, welcher Receiver, welcher Quarterback ist wo gelistet, wer geht so Richtung All-American und wer wird auch wo auf welches College gehen. Das ist mittlerweile schon relativ schnell klar durch die ganzen Online-Sachen, die wir haben. Als es bei Toni soweit war, hat er das Ganze noch aus der Zeitung erfahren. Das heißt, er musste wirklich die Zeitung aufschlagen, um zu gucken, wo ist er gerankt. Und Toni war letztendlich auf Nummer 3 der besten Receiver gerankt. Was für ihn bedeutet hat, dass er die Möglichkeit hatte, an ein College zu gehen und ein Stipendium zu bekommen, weil er sonst gar nicht die Möglichkeit gehabt hätte, einen Studienplatz zu bezahlen oder ein Studium zu bezahlen. Letztendlich hat er sich für Wisconsin entschieden, weil er gerne Maschinenbau studieren wollte und Wisconsin zu der Zeit unter den Top 5 der Maschinenbau-Unis war und sie ihm ermöglicht haben, weiterhin Leichtathletik zu machen. Das heißt, er konnte sowohl Football spielen als auch weiterhin seiner Leichtathletik-Leidenschaft nachgehen und das hat Wisconsin ihm geboten. 21 Jahre lang, hat er gesagt, ist es her gewesen, dass Wisconsin mal in ein Bowl-Game gekommen ist und der derzeitige
Rose Bowl.
Rose Bowl, ja.
Rose Bowl
It's different. Rose Bowl is different. Yeah.
Bigger bowl games, but not the Rose Bowl.
Let me time to come to Rose Bowl. Letztendlich hatte er die Möglichkeit, beziehungsweise Wisconsin hatte nicht die Möglichkeit, an einem Bowl-Game teilzunehmen für 21 Jahre. Der damalige Head Coach hat aber so diesen ganzen Plan verfolgt, Wisconsin wieder auf die Map zu bringen, also Wisconsin wieder auf die Karte zu bringen und Wisconsin wieder groß zu machen. Was sie letztendlich auch geschafft haben, weil, wie Philipp ja gerade schon vorweggenommen hat, sie es letztendlich sogar bis in den Rose Bowl, einen der größten oder das als mit der größten Bowl Games überhaupt im College Football geschafft haben. Und sie haben es nur geschafft, nach 21 Jahren an einem Bowl Game teilzunehmen, sondern sie haben es tatsächlich geschafft, den Rose Bowl zu gewinnen. Rückblickend ist das für Toni also eine der besten Entscheidungen. Und er hat auch als Ingenieur abgeschlossen, die er so treffen konnte.
So yeah, just back onto the difference between high school and college. Every state has a different type of football. You got the North has a different type, the South has a different type, the West, California, Texas, Georgia, everybody got a different style of football. And when you chose to go to Wisconsin, how was the difference between the high school and the college, the level of play basically? This is something we ask everybody, so it's a different feeling basically.
Well, the level of play is always different. You know what I mean? First of all, you're dealing with guys who are bigger, faster, stronger. Yeah. Automatically. You're dealing with grown men. We ain't high school kids, I'm dealing with grown men. You got guys who are going to the league, who are about to take that professional level, and they're still in their last year or two of college ball, and you're a freshman coming in. The game is the mentality. Big thing is mentality is huge. You coming from high school, you were the man. Now you are a boy or a man in the grand scheme of it all. And the thing is, like high school, you're used to going home and dealing with moms and pops or your brothers and sisters. College, you dealing with your roommate. You know what I mean? You going out every night. You on your own for the first time. You're really out there for the first time on your own. You feel that you got it. I gotta do this. No one's waking you up for go to school anymore. You got to go to class on your own. Things are changing. You know what I mean? For the first time, you are doing the things you complained about in high school. Man, I can't wait to be on my own. Now you're on your own. And now it costs because your grades, your play and all that stuff, all determines on how your mental ability is to adapt to the change that's coming. And it comes and you got to figure it out. You have to figure out your life in a year or two before everything starts to change again. Because, like college, they're constantly bringing in recruits. It's constantly coming in. High school, that's it. Like when you're the man, you're the man. You're that guy. In college, people are constantly coming in and you're starting to get used to what's going to happen because they bring another guy in receiver, they bring another DB or whatever position in, and they bring another guy in your position, they're younger, you like, is this guy going to take my spot? You know what I mean? Like, are they bringing them in to take my spot? No, sometimes they're just filling in the spots. But you don't know, because this guy get out here, he starts to practicing, he make you look bad. Oh, I got to get right, you know what I mean? Because this dude might be on the field before me. So, those are the things you're being pushed for your love. You're being pushed from day one. Like when I came in, there were receivers already there, but they didn't have a receiver that was as fat. They had 2 receivers that came in with me and my guy, Reggie. We were the 2 fastest people on the team. Just by coming onto the team, we were the 2 fastest automatically because we were state champions in track and field, and we've done the work in football. So they were like, dude, these are the fastest people we've ever had on our team, and they're here now. You know what I mean? So that was a different game too, this. So there are expectations from college and there's expectations from high school. But high school, once you're gone, leave those alone. You're dealing with grown men, and you're dealing with people who are playing for the opportunity to make football their career.
Yeah.
Okay, das ist eine Frage, die wir letztendlich jedem Interviewpartner stellen. Was ist der Unterschied für dich persönlich zwischen High School und College? Die Antworten sind interessanterweise fast alle identisch. Jeder sagt, in der High School bist du der Spieler. Du bist der Spieler, der alles abreißt, der alles rasiert. Das zählt, sobald du im College bist, überhaupt gar nichts mehr. Alles ist neu. Jeder ist competitive. Jeder will das Beste zeigen. Jeder will es in die NFL schaffen. Und die Altersunterschiede und eben auch die körperlichen Unterschiede sind, sobald man ans College geht, nochmal ganz, ganz andere. Das hat uns auch Toni bestätigt, dass auch in der Highschool er natürlich derjenige war, der so ein bisschen rausgestochen ist und das im College ganz, ganz anders war, weil natürlich auch oft Spieler neu ans College kommen, die auch auf derselben Position spielen. Und man immer daran denkt, dass da immer jemand hinter einem steht, der sofort den Spot kriegen könnte, wenn er besser ist, wenn er besser trainiert, wenn er eher beim Training ist, wenn er mehr zeigt. Und was für ihn ganz identisch war, und das sagen uns eigentlich auch alle unsere Interviewpartner, dass das Mindset ein ganz, ganz anderes ist und auch ein ganz anderes sein muss. In der Highschool wird man geweckt, man bekommt Frühstück, alle laufen hinter einem her. Im College ist man allein und auf sich gestellt. Man muss sich überlegen, will ich das? Wann will ich aufstehen? Wie will ich aufstehen? Ich bin nur noch mit meinem Roommate zusammen und habe halt nicht mehr die Möglichkeit, mich darüber zu beschweren, dass ich selber entscheiden möchte, sondern jetzt muss ich es für mich selber entscheiden und man muss dann eben auch abliefern. Und das ist für ihn ein riesiger Unterschied gewesen, was ein sehr positiver Effekt war, dass er und jemand anderes, sein Kumpel, der mit ihm ans College gekommen ist, die beiden schnellsten im kompletten Team war. Das hat ihm natürlich schon mal ein bisschen einen Vorsprung gegeben.
Yeah, so just to go to our next question, we're going to talk about your NFL career. You're drafted 2nd round from the Patriots, right?
Second round, 52nd pick. Yes, sir.
Okay.
So you got to know the deal, bro. I know the numbers still. I still know the numbers.
So, every American, keep it real, every African American, that's their dream to make it out of the, so-called hood, out of their environment and where they're from. And how was that experience for you to, being a Chicago kid, knowing the history from Chicago or what it is?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure it was different back then. But were there any idols that you were looking forward to playing with or against, or basically just kind of sum that up in one little
thing? NFL. So getting drafted was freaking dream. Trust. That's the dream of all of it. You're sitting there waiting for the telephone call, watching it on TV, or some people who were fortunate to be watching it for the first round. Me wasn't, but I was right there, but didn't make it. The 32nd pick was a receiver to Denver, and my name was on there. I was the 3rd. They were picking between us, so I was like, I'll go to Denver. This might be the one, you know what I mean? And they ended up choosing him. And then next thing you know, Patriots picked me up. Pete Carroll, he chose me to come through and do that because remember the Patriots had secondary picks because they lost Tuna. He went to New York, so they got trade backs and stuff like that. So I was a 52nd pick, and then we had another pick at 54. But it was like when they say a dream come true. Yeah, you just realize what just happened. Like, man, I've been doing all this work. My parents, my mom, my brothers and sisters, going to practice, taking the bus. She coming up here trying to figure this out, working 3 jobs, trying to still support her kid in football and track and basketball, all the sports and all this stuff. And now you see for the first time that you actually have an opportunity to actually help out for a change instead of just, getting a job, which is nothing wrong with getting a job and, helping out and trying to help pay the bills. For the first time, like you can say, I got that. I'll pay for that for you. And it's not for me, it wouldn't have been a big deal, but for them, it'd be like, no, that's okay. And it's like, no, I have the money. We can take care of some things that we couldn't take care of before. So, like paying my mom's mortgage down, that's always been second mortgage, this, that, trying to just keep up. Now she doesn't have to worry about that because I can take care of that. But the idols and stuff like that, sum it all up, I got to play with a lot of great guys, a lot of them. I was just speaking this from the Patriots alone. Like before I even went there, we played against, I played against him in high school, didn't even realize, Donovan McNabb. There you go. Donovan McNabb played him against high school. He was against our high school rival. Played against him in high school and in college. And then in Portland. So, that you had, like, I had the Drew Bledsoe, Tom Brady, Michael Bishops, Tyler, Lawyer Malloy. I got to play with some Troy Brown. Got to play against Sam Madison. You know what I mean? All these are Darryl Green. He's been around for a minute. I got to play against Dion. You know what I mean? I got to meet Jerry Rice. I got to meet Jerry Rice when I was in college. And then, knowing that he was a receiver, and then I met the counterpart where I got my number from, 82, was John Taylor. I got to meet both of them and were like, man, these the boys right here. Moving fast forward, now I get to play against them in a different way. But what I mean? I got to see, Atwater and these guys that were like huge to me back then, and Emmitt Smith and all those guys. It's just like a bunch of guys that now I'm part of that fraternity, and I'm happy to be part of them because I get to see those guys and we all know of each other and stuff like that, and having that time, and it was cool. I enjoyed all that. And then I was fortunate to continue my career. I played 5 years in the NFL, was about to play my 6th, and I continued my career by going to the CFL. So that was the thing. And I played another 4 years up there. So, I had a long career, but then, eventually stacking that on to Europe. And then that was the next thing. Because when I was in the NFL as well, I played for the Barcelona Dragons at NFL Europe. So that's how I found out about Europe in the first place, that they even had football over there. So that's how it happened.
That's funny that you mentioned Troy Brown, because Troy Brown, he's from Marshall. And he went to Marshall University also. And every time he came back, we was always together at a basketball game or something like that. He kind of, took us under his wing.
Yep.
Young guys, and the story about Marshall and things like that. We did a lot of things there. And but it's funny you mentioned his name, because Troy Brown is a really good, role model to me when I was in college, basically.
He's a real good guy, man. He's one of those guys that were like, people were like, Troy, he's this, he's slow, he's that. I said, Troy's consistent. I don't care what anybody say, he's consistent. You ain't got to be the fastest guy in the world. You ain't got to be the smartest guy in the world. If you're consistent, consistent in whatever you do, man, you'll be good at it. You'll always be good, because that's just what you are. You're consistent. You could be one of the greatest players in the world, but in being inconsistent, you'll get a lot more chances. People, but at some point in time, they're going to be like, just not consistent enough, son. It's time to move on. You know what I mean? And that's fine. That's fine. But as I always say, the one thing for NFL, now I always tell people, is this a joke? But NFL, everybody think you can play forever. NFL means not for long. Play as long as you can, as best you can, for as long as you can, and move on. If you want to continue your career, you go to the CFL. Come for less. Whatever. Just come for less, because you ain't gonna get paid as much, but you enjoy the game just as much. And it's the same game. It's just 12-man versus 11-man ball, 3-down ball versus 4. Same thing. That's all.
So yeah, good luck
Go
with
ahead. He was like this. He's like, for real? Yeah, I like that. Hey, this is serious. Like, yeah, it's a lot of stuff going on.
It's way too interesting to interrupt you. So, to be honest, I think that everybody who's watching our interviews is into the English language enough to understand what you told. So, and it's too interesting to interrupt you. So, yeah, I will summarize it.
Do what you do, bro.
Für Toni war natürlich die NFL genauso ein Traum wie für alle anderen auch. Ich glaube oder denke, jeder, der mit Football anfängt, ob in den USA oder mittlerweile auch in Europa, hat irgendwo als allerhöchsten Traum, mal in der NFL zu spielen. Für Toni ist er wahr geworden, und zwar ist er als in der zweiten Runde gedraftet worden zu den Patriots. Das war auch, also es war immer so sein Traum, am Draft überhaupt teilzunehmen. Viele werden ja eingeladen, nur einige werden eingeladen. Er war auch eigentlich so in der ersten Runde, hat es dann aber leider nur in Anführungsstrichen die zweite Runde geschafft. Zweite Runde im Draft ist schon, das ist der Wahnsinn. Das ist nicht nur zweite Runde, es ist die zweite Runde des NFL-Drafts. In der ersten Runde war er gelistet, auf einer Liste zusammen mit anderen Receivern, um nach Denver zu gehen. Letztendlich ist er dann aber zu den Patriots gegangen. Der zweite Teil der Geschichte ist natürlich so, mit wem hat er alles zusammengespielt, mit welchen Legenden. Ich werde jetzt nicht anfangen, die ganzen Namen, die er genannt hat, alle nochmal aufzuzählen. Ich glaube, dass aber für ganz viele, die auch Football interessiert sind, diese Namen unglaublich viel bedeuten und unglaublich viel sagen. Und gerade Philipp hat auch nochmal so ein bisschen so eine Story dazu beigetragen, wo man einfach merkt, dass einzelne Spieler ganz, ganz starken Einfluss darauf nehmen können, wie die Entwicklung von anderen Spielern ist. Indem sie nämlich zurück ans College kommen und die jungen Spieler unterstützen, die jungen Spieler so ein bisschen unter ihre Fittiche nehmen, sie so ein bisschen an der Historie, gerade bei der Marshall University, teilhaben lassen, sich aber auch darum kümmern. Das heißt, was auch Toni so zusammenfassend gesagt hat, war, dass diese NFL-Erfahrung natürlich unglaublich toll und unglaublicher Wahnsinn war, aber NFL natürlich nicht für immer da ist und man nicht für immer dort spielen kann. Für ihn ging es hinterher weiter in der CFL und, worauf wir später auch noch kommen werden, beziehungsweise jetzt auch kommen werden, wo waren denn seine nächsten Stationen? Seine nächsten Stationen haben ihn nämlich mit dem Football fast um die ganze Welt geführt. So, Tony, my next question is, you've basically traveled the world with football. What made you to make the decision to leave the US to play and coach in different countries all around the world?
Well, one of it was in the CFL. I was in my season, 2007 season. I was doing with that. As that was going on, my mom got sick. When my mom got sick, I told the general manager that I need to go home, take care of my mom. I was with the BC Lions at the time. I left, and I left for about a week. And then I was on my way back, and I got a letter in the mail that says that I was relieved. I was done. Like, my season was over. It was mid-season. I was done. And I was like, what the? And I was in shock. Like, what the hell just happened? You know, like, I need to take care of my family business, and I'll be back. So I actually missed the game because of that. But, you know, whatever. So now I'm back home taking care of my mom. And at the same time, I'm also doing my master's degree in project management. And, you know, NFL Europe, just found out NFL Europe went under, you know what I mean? So I'm like, oh man, this sucked. I wonder if they still doing stuff over there. So I was playing arena football at the time. And then I called over to Spain, to Barcelona. And one of my coaches that I knew there, he was like, oh yeah, it's a league over here, blah, blah, blah. And he said, Euro players. And I was like, Euro players? The hell is that? Then next thing you know, over time, start playing. Then 2009, I started looking on Euro players, like really looking and seeing what it was. And all of a sudden, it was a whole new world. Like, it's football over there? What's going on? So I'm just looking and looking and looking. And now, you know, I don't know anything about the site. So I'm kind of like, all right, how do I do this? So what I did was develop the system. Every day I would contact every team on the list. So I would go country to country. I started going by countries. See a whole country, start typing, start talking, everybody. So I eventually, at one point, I've typed I hit every team on there. If it was a salary or not, I just wanted to go coach again. I just wanted to go coach and start having fun again. And Denmark, 2010, February 28th, I graduated from my master's degree. Got it, came from work, jumped on through the master's. I had a hoodie on, literally, maybe this hoodie looked like this one. This one, tucked it in the back, put my gown up, walked on the stage, shook a hand, and had to go right back to work. You know what I mean? Jumped out there, grabbed it. Thank you very much. Smiled, took some pictures, and took off right back to work, flipped it off, and left. But March 5th, I was on the plane to Denmark playing. I was like, I'm out. It's time to go back out. So went over, and that started it all again. Like I got the love for the game again. And I wanted to play, but it was kind of like I had nothing to really prove, but I wanted to teach guys that were not like me, that did not have an opportunity like me. I had an opportunity from the little kid on the south side of Chicago growing up in the hood to being a professional athlete. Now I'm dealing with guys who've never really played football and don't understand the mentality, the effort, determination, everything you got to do just to play football. And, as I went to Europe, people were like, oh, it's a hobby. I'm like, can't actually think of it as a hobby anymore. You can't think of football as a hobby because when is the last time you played a hobby and literally you get your ass kicked? You know what I mean? So got to have some pride in it. So it's not a hobby. It's more of this is something I want to do. It can't just be a hobby. So changing mentalities and teaching people the game like that. And then eventually I kept playing as long as I could. And then I had spurts of playing football. So I would play a year, take a couple years. Sometimes I'll play a couple games. And then 2012 came around and had an opportunity to play in the
Euro-American Bowl.
Euro-American football game. Yeah, Euro-American game. And then that's where me and Philip met. And that's where that was the next chapter of, am I going to keep playing, being a player coach, or am I going to keep playing? I was like, I don't know. But that was just our next chapter of going through it.
Yeah, really cool. Yeah, as he said, it's all about the mentality, and you cannot treat football as a hobby. So I think that it's all about love the game, and the game will love you back.
Yeah, I know. People love this game, which is great. I don't mind people saying it's a hobby, but I'm just saying, when is the last time when do you have a hobby that you get your ass kicked? Literally, you can lose a limb, die. I was like, ain't too many hobbies out there. Like, I was knitting and I'm going to die. You know what I mean? Like, come on, bro. This ain't a hobby. And I don't care if you put it in your head as a hobby, you're going to treat it. You're just going to give minimum effort to get through it. And that's cool, because how I look at football is like this. You have people who want to play, and then you have people who are standbyers. Now, if you need a team of 60-something people, you might have 30 people who really want to play. The other 30 might be just standbyers and some people that can fill in when they can, because they're players, and then they're practice field players. Some people just come to practice, and they just want to look on the field, got my uniform, I look good, take a couple of selfies. Just welcome to the new world. This is our world. Like, we grew up in the world of, we kicking ass and taking names. Now we're in a world like, how do I look? I don't care. Can you play is a question. That's more important to me. You know what I mean? But welcome to a world now that social media is making sports more prominent out there, that people know that, oh, wow, European football actually exists. Yeah. You'd have said 10 years ago, European football exists. They'd be like, the hell are you talking about? Ain't no football over there. What do you mean? Oh, you mean soccer? Oh, yeah. No, American football. And you would catch Americans like Phil. You have to go over there and say, so what do? You play football? And they're like, yeah. Oh, you play soccer? No, American football. So we start talking in the sense of saying, oh, yeah, I play American football in Europe. They got American football over there. You know what I mean? We had to start training, even people in the United States start telling them that football is all over the world. Yeah. It just wasn't booming back then. Now, everybody knows about it because social media has helped it develop faster to get it out there. Now, in those little corners of the world, there's football. You know what I mean? There's football in Thailand. People don't even know about that. There's football in China, Japan, Australia. You don't know about this. And Africa, most countries in Africa have football. They have football on the Ivory Coast. People don't know about this stuff. Panama, in Mexico, Panama, going down there, Panama, Mexico, Brazil, Argentina, Colombia, you know what I mean, Peru, all these places have football now, but no one would know that unless you actually, and I was fortunate enough to travel to see it, like, oh, it's a lot of, okay, we got a lot of work to do, you know what I mean? It was like us passing the word on. Let's come on, y'all can do this, we can do this, and gave me an opportunity to travel the world just to see, just to give the love of football back to people, because football is just not, you know, X's and O's. It's more about mentality, being accountable, being responsible, being the guy that you're supposed to be there for that person, which will also turns into life lessons, learning about accountability, responsibility, honor, you know what I mean, and stuff like that, being that person. So when you are presented, even a male or female, you're presenting yourself to a business or to a significant other or to a family, you have honor, responsibility, you're accountable. They know they can count on you. They know they can do things with you and make you, they look at you and say, you know what, that's an upstanding human being. That's an upstanding citizen of the world. You are somebody that I can count on versus just some guy or some girl that plays. You know what I mean? Now they know what they expect from you because you know what? You gave that dedication already. You've given that determination to make other people play. You went out there and threw your body around, and now they understand why you're so sore all the time and why I'm out there training so hard. Yeah, because first of all, I don't want to get injured. Second of all, I want to do the best I can to not impress anybody out in the stands. I want to impress my people, my boys, the girls I play with, anybody I play with. I'm impressing them. Like, man, dude, I didn't think you could do that. Yeah, I told you, boy. I was working on that move. I was working on that move in practice. You know, that's what you're there for. You're basically like, I'll tell anybody, if I have to play it again, I'll do it all over again. Because it's not just the game. The game is the game. But the friendship, the camaraderie I have with all the players from high school all the way up to the pros, all the way down into Europe. Welcome to the fraternity. It's a fraternity. It's a whole bunch of us out there. We just love the game so much that we're willing to throw our bodies around for it again and make sure that you understand, like, this is what it takes. This is what our mentality is. This is what it takes. It's not a hobby. This is what we do. It's something we do and we love it. Just respect the game, because when you respect the game gives you back respect. If you disrespect it, you find out where you're going to end up. You know, on the sideline, sitting out here with Coach.
Okay, ich werde versuchen, das Ganze wieder so ein bisschen zusammenzufassen. Die Ausgangsfrage war, was Toni dazu gebracht hat, die USA zu verlassen, um in Europa oder eigentlich für ihn auf der ganzen Welt Football zu spielen, Football zu coachen. Toni war zu der Zeit in der CFL, als seine Mama krank geworden ist und er gesagt hat, er muss nach Hause, muss sich um seine Mama kümmern, hat das auch gemacht. Das war nur eine Woche und hat dann schon eine Mail bekommen, wo drin stand, okay, du bist out, obwohl sie in der Mitte der Season waren und du brauchst auch nicht mehr wiederkommen. Was natürlich für ihn erstmal ein Schock war und er auch so gar nicht wusste, okay, wo kommt das jetzt her, warum ist das so? Er sich dann natürlich weiter um seine Mama und um seine Familie kümmern konnte, in der Zeit noch seinen Master gemacht hat und nebenbei gearbeitet hat und dann, wie so viele auch, durch Europlayers und durch Kontakte und durch andere an Europa gekommen ist, beziehungsweise an die Welt. Und letztendlich ist so das, was zusammenfassend Toni auch nochmal gesagt hat, Football ist kein typisches Hobby. Football ist nichts, was ich als Hobby betreibe. Football ist nicht wie Angeln, wo ich ohne große Vorkenntnisse einen Angelschein machen kann, wo ich mir mein Level aussuchen kann. Football ist physisch. Football bedeutet, dass ich mich verletzen kann. Football bedeutet, dass es jedes Spiel, jedes Training kann das letzte sein, dass ich auf dem Feld stehe. Und Football bedeutet eben auch, dass es nicht nur das Spiel an sich ist, sondern dass es um viel mehr geht, dass es darum geht, Menschen kennenzulernen, dass es darum geht, Freundschaften zu schließen, dass es darum geht, auch fürs Leben ganz viel zu lernen, weil das Spiel in einem Team ist eben nie, dass ich alleine losgehe und mir überlege, wann kann ich etwas für mich selber tun, sondern was kann ich letztendlich auch fürs Team tun, dass ich Verantwortung übernehme für mich und für mein Team. Das ist auch das, was Toni so ein bisschen mitgeben möchte und dass natürlich Football mittlerweile, Gott sei Dank, über die ganze Welt verteilt ist. Auch da ist Social Media Fluch und Segen. es gab zum früheren Zeitpunkt gab es diese Social Media nicht. Das heißt, man musste wirklich zeigen, wer man ist, wo man ist und wie man spielt und wie man auf dem Feld ballen kann und nicht nur, wie viel Instagram-Follower man hat, sondern dass es um ganz, ganz andere Werte geht. Aber letztendlich ist das der Respekt voreinander und der Respekt vor diesem Sport und die Liebe zu diesem Sport eigentlich das, was es ausmacht. Und wenn ich mich dafür entscheide, wirklich aktiv Football zu spielen zu wollen, muss ich mir dessen immer bewusst sein. Ich muss mir immer bewusst sein, dass ich mich jederzeit verletzen kann, dass es Einfluss auf mein Leben hat, dass es Einfluss auf meine Familie hat und dass es das Ganze nur geht, wenn ich 100% all in bin. Und wenn man das nicht ist, endet man eben auch ganz schnell in der Sideline. Ich persönlich finde, dass Football natürlich etwas für jeden sein sollte. Man muss sich eben nur überlegen, welchen Part im Football man spielen möchte. Möchte man wirklich Spieler sein, dann als Spieler muss ich es so ernst nehmen, dass ich auch wirklich spielen kann. Das bedeutet, ich muss mich darauf einlassen. Möchte ich Coach sein, was bedeutet, ich muss mich immer weiterbilden, ich muss immer mehr lernen, ich muss immer mehr wissen, um junge Menschen immer besser zu machen als Spieler. Wenn ich sage, ich möchte das beides nicht, habe ich immer die Möglichkeit, Fan zu sein. Ich habe immer die Möglichkeit, zu Spielen zu gehen. Ich kann den Teams helfen. Ich kann an der Sideline stehen. Ich kann Betreuer eines Teams sein, was ein unglaublich wichtiger Part ist. Ein Team besteht niemals nur aus Coaches und aus Spielern, sondern aus allem drumherum. Das Ganze drumherum macht dieses Team aus. Und das ist das Wichtige im Football. Und wenn ich wirklich sage, ich habe Bock, ein bisschen zu spielen, habe aber gar nicht so den Effort dahinter und habe auch nicht die körperlichen Voraussetzungen, gibt es immer noch auch in Deutschland ganz oft vertreten Flag Football, was weniger körperlich intensiv ist, aber wo man trotzdem so ein bisschen den Football mitleben kann.